Okay, hello and welcome to our accepted students. We have 2 right now who are our accepted students, and we have 3 who are current students who are here to answer questions and talk a little bit about their experiences in Springfield College. We're a small group now, a few more people might be joining us. I'll start by introducing myself, and then I'll ask our students to introduce themselves, and then our 2 accepted students can say hi as well. So my name is Professor Sophia Zagarins. I teach in the health science major. I'm actually a professor of public health, and my background is in epidemiology, but epidemiology is an important methodology in both public health and in health science. It's a big part of evidence-based healthcare. It's a big part of population health. So I'm able to transition easily between clinical health classes and public health classes, which is quite fun for me. And I've been here at Springfield College for 5.5 years, and it has been a pleasure to be here. I used to teach at UMass as a part-time person, and now I'm full-time at Springfield College. And I've certainly noticed that there is a difference between teaching at a large university and teaching on a small college campus. But especially a big part of the difference, I think, is just the culture of the campus. You can really tell that this is a campus that is community service oriented and has that Humanics mission. It actually is visible, you can see it, and it makes it a pleasure to be here. And I also would say that the students in the health science major are even a cut above the average Springfield College student. I have done guest lectures in classes that are in other majors, and I think our students are the best. So welcome to our info session about our majors. This info session is applicable to anyone who's interested in the health science major and also the public health major, because the 2 come from our same department and are taught by the same faculty. So that's a bit about me, and I'll just go in order from my screen here. Destiny, you're next. Would you do an introduction for yourself?
Hi, I'm Destiny Jones. I'm a senior in the health science program. I actually came in as undeclared, and then right after the midterms, I believe, I came into the health science program. I think it's a perfect program. I've gone from thinking I was going to be a PA, OT, and now nursing, but the health science program is so flexible that I'm graduating on time. I actually took more classes than I actually needed to get into nursing school. So that shows you that if you're not too sure, but the medical fields for you, I would recommend this major, definitely. I think you should come here.
Thank you. All right, Travis.
I will have to, yeah, I agree with that. But my name is Travis Dupuy. I am a 3rd-year undergraduate in the health science program, and same as Destiny, I actually came in as undeclared, wanting to go into the PA field, but I didn't get in right away. So I was undeclared, and then transferred over to the health science program, and it was a very good decision. All the professors, every single one of them, are very, very, very nice. In my opinion, they're the best staff out of all majors at the at the college. Just real quickly, I'm going into PA school or attending graduate school, and I'm also an EMT right now. But the health science program, like Destiny said, has a huge variety of different fields you can go into, which is why it's so great to go into the major, because you can just really, you can explore so much. So
Thank you, Travis. All right, and Marissa, you are next.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I am a junior in the health science program. I also have a minor in healthcare management. Coming into college, I did not know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted it to be either healthcare or health-based. I wanted to do PT kind of, but I wasn't set on that. So choosing the health science major definitely helped because it's so broad. You have so many different options that you can go with it. And as of now, I am planning on getting my master's in public health. So you can either go clinical or public health with this major. It's really very general. I'm also a member of the cross country and track team and the president of the health science club. So if there's any questions about clubs or sports, I can answer those.
Great, thank you. And then we have a few admitted students who are here as well. I have Carter, Ryan, and Isabella, if those are actually your names, or they might be the computer's names. But are any of you available, or any of you able to unmute and introduce yourselves a little bit or ask questions? Not quite sure if you're in a place where that's possible.
I'm available.
Great. And do any of you have questions to get us started? Questions for me as the faculty member or questions for our students? All right, you can also, I'll start us off with a couple of questions, but if you aren't able to speak easily because there's background noise, you can also type a question in, and I've got the chat open, so I'll watch for those as well. So for our purposes, we're trying to give an overview of the major, what it's like to live here on campus, or to this year potentially live off campus and take classes remotely. And there are a lot of different topics that we could cover. So I'll start with one question, but for the three of you who are here attending, if you have a question and you want to jump in, feel free to do that at any time. Otherwise, I'll go through the list of questions suggested by the admissions office and we can see where the conversation takes us. Okay. So what has been the best thing about your undergrad experience so far at Springfield College? Any of our current students are welcome to jump in when they have formulated their thought.
The best thing, I think it's like meeting the professors. Like I feel like they're like educated in a wide range of topics. So like Professor Zagrin, she's like super smart and good at epi. And then you have Professor Higgins that's like known for like public health. So like you like learn a lot from them. I think it's just like the knowledge of like not only like the class I'm going to use for nursing, but like some of my favorite classes were healthcare disparities and maternal and child health. Like it's just like the health science electives that teach you so much.
And just to add on to that, with Springfield being like a small school in general, and especially the health science program, there's a there's a couple of staff members, professors, or anything like that, but it really allows for a high student to faculty ratio. So you can, like Destiny said, you can really get to know the professors, which that's probably one of my favorite parts, is getting to know the professors and talking to them. But if obviously, looking at like huge schools, like for example, UConn, I know I'm from Connecticut, but classrooms like that, it's just there's really little interaction with the professors. But Springfield College, and especially the health science program, you can really interact with the professors, get to know them on a personal level, because they're always happy. They always say it. They're always happy to help out any way they can. Yes, but that's probably been one of my favorite parts is being able to get to know them, but also learn from them, because like Destiny said, they have a huge expansive knowledge on all the fields and everything. So
thank you. And I will piggyback on that by saying I really like that I get to know the students very well here too. It's even this past year where a lot of students aren't able to attend in person and a lot of students only come on Zoom. And even on Zoom, a lot of students aren't really able to unmute their screen. They're just kind of a black box on Zoom. I still get to know them by the end of the semester because the classes are relatively small and because students do have they're kind of trained to get in touch when they have questions. And, there's a lot of infrastructure to facilitate that kind of thing, even this year. And in normal times, there's even more of it, which is really nice.
Kind of going off of what, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Marissa, go ahead.
Okay. Kind of going off of what Travis said about the small school, I would say my favorite part about this school is definitely the people and the culture of everything. I feel like it's definitely like a community and you can relate to a lot of people and everyone's just like super welcoming and you're definitely going to make a lot of friends here. Just having that, like getting to know your professors too, because your classes aren't going to be too small, just really makes a difference for me personally.
And I think that relates. Isabella just posted a question in the chat, which kind of gets at this access students have with faculty. How open are professors to participating with students in research? Have any of you done that?
I was actually going to answer that question, or try to answer. So I actually I think it was either last year or freshman year. I think I went to you, Dr. Zaggers. I'm pretty sure I had, I don't think, I don't think I was in the health science program just quite yet, but I was interested in doing research, just seeing if there's any research opportunities on campus. But really a good resource for that is not only the professors, they can put you in the right direction, but we have a career center here. And so I went to them first, and they kind of pointed me in the right direction. They told me to go see Dr. Zagrins just for that specific reason. But in terms of internships and advising stuff, the Career Center is great. So if you ever, are curious about the internship stuff and research stuff, that's a good place to start. We have a Career Center on campus. So.
Right. I haven't had anyone working with me this year, but in previous years, I've had anywhere from 1 to 5 students doing a research project outside of class. We have we have a class code for that. It's called RSCH 141, and it's basically doing a research project. You design it yourself, and it can be anywhere from half a credit to probably 3 or 4 credits, depending on what you're doing. And it's been something that we've been successful with in terms of adding it to the class that students take their senior year. So there's a senior capstone course, and students have done that in the fall, and then they've continued it as an independent research project in the spring. And then we have a Scholars in Action Day where students have presented their project. So it depends on student interest. We don't actively recruit for it, but if students are interested in that kind of thing, and if they do what Travis did and come and ask about it, we can usually set them up with something. And the types of projects students do really vary. Anything from literature review to data collection and analysis, depends on what your interests are, how much time you have, all of that. And then another question from Isabella: how available are internships, and what type of advising is available at Springfield for internships? Any of you have experience with that?
I recently did an online internship over winter break. It was through Broad Street. It was data entry for COVID-19. I believe our health science secretary sent out an email about that opportunity. So she sent it out to like the health science major, and me and a few of my friends that are also in the major did the internship, and it was all online for 10 weeks, and we had like meetings over Zoom, and we would connect with other people on LinkedIn, and we would just do like data entry for COVID. So it was super easy. I just finished it actually, but if anyone has questions about it, I can answer.
And again, just to add on to that too. So, if you have, if you're coming into Springfield College and you already have like an internship set up, again, always feel free to meet with the Career Center and explain what your internship is, because that's kind of the boat I was in. I had a internship with a orthopedic surgeon back where I live, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now. And so I had mentioned it to him, and you can like set up certain credits and everything. There's a whole bunch of different options, but you can always go to them to figure out more about that. But also they'll sit down with you too, and they'll search, give you advice to finding internships. Like Marissa said, there's the LinkedIn thing, which is actually how I found out about it, was that they set me up with the LinkedIn thing. So that they'll walk you through, different internships, everything like that, summer jobs, that kind of stuff. So Career Center is a good place to start for that.
Yeah, going off of Travis, the Career Center I don't know how this is with COVID, but usually you go into the union and they have like jobs posted. And I actually found a job getting to the occupational therapy field. I was working for a 23-year-old man with autism, and I became like his carer for a whole year, and I got some experience in the field, and it was great. And then I was able to use that experience to get into a group home where I work now. So Springfield College opened the door for me. So I would just use those resources.
Yeah, and I would add a lot of our students are interested in clinical fields. So they want to do nursing or OT or PT or PA or something along those lines. And for those students, it's actually often better to do a clinical experience rather than an internship, as in get a job, because a lot of those fields want you to have a certain number of clinical hours or at least shadowing hours. So shadowing would be you just follow people around, but clinical hours mean you're working as a clinician. And often our students are doing something like Travis, where you're an EMT, or have, you know, a CNA position or a medical assistant or something along those lines, which is, you know, something that it does require a bit of training. It's not, you can just walk in off the street and do that. You have to pay for the training program. Here at Springfield, we do have an EMT training program, so you can do that as part of the major. But if you were to want to do something like a CNA, you'd have to do that probably at a community college over the summer. It's usually a few weeks that those courses run. But there are a lot of our students do that, and then that's very helpful in getting into those clinical programs later. For students who are interested in more research or public health or health administration types of positions, internships can be useful there. And there do, you know, it really varies what opportunities students end up finding. We don't have a structured, we have a course in the major that's a practicum course where students get placements, but we haven't, of course, done that this year. And even in the past, we haven't had a lot of interest in that. And so usually students who want to do that from the major do it through a different program, not through our major. We just don't have enough students. We don't require that. And we generally don't have very many. We don't have enough to run a class of it. You need 10 students to run a class, and we generally don't get 10. But other clinical programs like the speech language pathology program and the rehab counseling program, they do require those classes. And we have had students do the practicum through those classes. But even that, it's not like someone hands you an internship. You have to find it yourself. And you have to, like, if no one's done it there before, you have to set up the whole agreement to do the experience there. So it's a fair amount of commitment from the student. It's not as easy as just saying you want one and then someone hands it to you. Any other questions from those of you who are here?
I know Travis said he was an EMT. So if you're going in as an EMT, is there any opportunities around the school to work as an EMT while you're at school?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yep. That's and the EMT program's great. The professor is great. Springfield's a big, pretty big city. And the EMT program can definitely set you up with some jobs around, like, there's National Ambulance, there's AMR, there's I work at Action Ambulance, which is they have a couple stations. But yeah, no, you can definitely do that. But the thing is, you have to, if you're interested in doing the EMT stuff, you have to go through the EMT course. It's 2 semesters long usually. There's labs, lectures. It's essentially a full class. You have exams, tests, and whatnot. But the difference is that you have practicals, which is, hands-on stuff that you get to do. And then once you finish the EMT class, usually through the college and the program, they set you up with a state practical exam where you get certified in that, and then they also set you up with a national certification exam. So they set you up for that, and then but yeah, they can easily guide you and help you find EMT job around the school and everything like that. The professor is great. He's Abdullah Rahim. He's awesome.
Thank you, because I'm in a class right now. I'm currently working on getting my EMT.
Oh, nice.
Know anything about like recertifying in Massachusetts? Because I know Connecticut and Massachusetts are both NREMT states.
Yeah.
To like get it for Massachusetts as well.
So
Yeah.
I was in that situation. Oh, sorry, Travis.
No, go ahead.
And I had my EMT. I actually just stopped practicing because it's not what I wanted to do. But so I got my EMT license at 17. So I had to sit for the state board first, and then I had to wait till I was 18 to do the national registry. So most of the time, the state will give you reciprocity if you shouldn't have to retake a test. I didn't get reciprocity in mass because I decided that's not what I wanted to do, but they should let you. It would just be like a fee.
Mm-hmm. Where are you from, bud? Where are you from? Connecticut, you said?
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut.
I'm from Connecticut too, yeah. So
Yeah, so yeah, and like Destiny said, the that whole entire process is so easy. It usually is just a fee, and they
it's just
just
a fee. Don't stress
yeah,
about it. Like it's
yeah,
not a
yeah. Oh
mess.
gosh,
They just
no,
want your money,
it's
honestly.
and I actually have to make you feel better. So I took the course through Springfield. I took it in Mass, so I'm certified in Massachusetts, which is why I'm working there. But I plan on transferring over my license to Connecticut. And again, like Destiny said, it's super easy. You pay a fee. I don't know exactly how much it is, but you pay a fee, and you should be all set. But if you want to work in Mass, then you'd have to go through that process of like once you're certified in Connecticut, transfer over your license to Massachusetts if you want to work in Mass.
Yeah.
So that's kind of up to you though. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from those of you attending? Okay, I will ask another one from my list. First, do the professors hold office hours? And second, what kind of support do students get from their advisors? So you have faculty advisors here, and you can meet with your professors who teach your classes in office hours. You can meet with your faculty advisors in their office hours. How's that experience been for you guys?
I'll have to say one thing about the health science faculty, like there's always office hours. Like, I mean, there's been times I've been doing my homework and I'm like, I'm confused. And I've like looked at the office hours and they had office hours in 2 hours for 2 hours. Like this, like, I feel like that's like with the whole campus, but especially our faculty, they are always available. And even if like you work a lot, like they'll schedule a time they'll come in before, or especially with Zoom now, like they're all available. I would just ask. And then for the advisors, they're great, but I just want you to know that it's not the same as your guidance counselor during high school. You have to also put in the work. So when you go into your advising meetings, you can't just sit there and think that they're going to plan it for you. You just have to be prepared. They're going to guide you, but you have to have the questions ready for them.
Adding on to that, even if you just want to like email your professor like a simple question, like they respond very quick, and I find that very helpful too. If like you can't make office hours or you just want the question answered, like they're always available and are always helpful and there for you. So
I have a question for you current students. Do you prefer office hours on Zoom or in person, just for purposes of next year planning?
I like in person. I like everything in person.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that makes sense. However, no one used to come in person, and my online office hours are well attended. Is it the scheduling? Would you prefer to combine the scheduling with the in-person? Would that help? I think what students worry about is that if they go to office hours, there'll be a line and they'll have to wait. But I think if they have their appointment in hand, then they're more likely to come, maybe. I've been trying to figure out why my office hours are much more popular this year than usual.
I personally like the appointments.
Makes sense. All right. I should also add, for the advising part, I am an advisor. I'm also a faculty member. So the advisors here are the faculty members. It's not like they're two separate groups. And any faculty member in the department would potentially be your advisor when you got here. If you feel like it, you can switch advisors at any time. It's a very simple process to do that. So you can look around to see which faculty members you'd like to work with as your advisor. Okay. And Ray just joined us. Ray, do you have any questions? We're kind of taking questions from the people attending, and then we also have some planned questions that we're going through as well. Ray might be frozen. We will give him time to unfreeze. Cars are like that. Okay, so what does the college offer for student academic support? Is there tutoring available? How does that work?
Oh, Doctor, there's a question in the chat from Isabel. I don't know if you want to answer that one first or.
Yes, let's answer that one first. Isabel asks, can you describe what living at Springfield College is like? Dorms, surrounding city life, etc.
I guess I'll start. So freshman year, I started on campus, and I stayed on campus the whole entire year. and I had a roommate from high school, which is pretty cool. But then after freshman year, I decided that it wasn't for me, and so I ended up going through the process of not living on campus and living at my house or off campus. And again, that process too, from if you're on a dorm moving home or vice versa, everything's on PriNet, first off, but second off, the staff is also really helpful there too. They'll walk you through exactly like what to do, what steps you need to do if you do change your mind. But if you do live on campus, it's a small campus, so you don't have to worry about walking too far or anything like that. But I'll probably let the other students tell you. But there's a couple of dorms around campus and everything like that. The city life, I would say we're kind of on the outskirts of the city a little bit, so it's not like crazy traffic, but we are kind of on a main street. So that, there's sometimes a good amount of traffic there. But I'll let the other students tell you a little bit more.
So I lived on campus all my 4 years. My first 3 years, I lived in a traditional dorm with just a roommate. My roommate actually happened to be my twin sister, so I don't know what the roommate life is like because I've lived with her my whole life. But I recommend you, like, if you can, to live on campus. It challenges you, like, not in a bad way, but you just grow up quicker. Like, you're not at home, so you have to plan, like, oh, I do need to go to the dining hall to eat. I need to make sure I wash my clothes. So it's like makes you grow up. And now I live in a suite. You can when you're an upperclassman, so either your junior or senior year, you can live in a traditional apartment style dorm. So like now I have my own room without my roommate, and we just share a kitchen, a bathroom, and a common area. And this has been my favorite so far because I feel like I have my own space. So I really enjoyed it. City life, like Travis said, we're like on the outskirts, but we're not too far from like the border of Connecticut. So like there's Infield and there's like little shopping malls, and then you're like in the other direction 20 minutes away from the Holyoke Mall. So it's like not like rural, like there's nothing to do. Like there's stuff to do, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to do on campus all the time.
Yeah, so I am a junior. In my first 2 years, I lived in a dorm, and my roommate, I think we met on Facebook or something, and it worked out well. I think like the whole roommate situation can either be a good or bad experience. It's kind of just like out of luck, but learning to live with someone is definitely an adjustment, but you definitely learn a lot about sharing things, like sharing personal space and just coming up with a schedule, but you'll definitely get used to it. And living on campus, definitely a lot more independent than in high school, and it's a good thing, like growing up. I now live in like a suite style with 4 other roommates. We all have our own room, which is nice, and then we have like a kitchen and bathroom, so that's worked out well, especially with COVID. Like we don't even really have to leave. And then as far as like the city, like we are on the outskirts of it, and if you drive off one way towards like out of campus, it's East Longmeadow, which is a very nice town, and it has pretty houses, and I run in that town a lot, and I think it's a very nice town. Like it's not like dangerous at all, and you'll definitely feel safe. Our campus is very small and like enclosed, so you'll definitely feel safe on campus. And then as far as like things to do off campus, there is a lot of like hiking and mountains and stuff like just 20 minutes away. So there is stuff to do and like cute restaurants and stuff as well. So.
And I can chime in too. I actually grew up in Springfield, so I can tell you what it's like to live in Springfield as a elementary school student and a high school student and all of that. And I imagine it's a bit more fun when you have your own car. Like for me, I got my driver's license at 16, and then immediately it was more interesting because I could go to these surrounding towns that are enjoyable rather than just be within my little walking range. My parents still live right down the street from Springfield College. It's about 1.5 miles away. So I used to run in the neighborhood right around Springfield College. It's safe, but you get honked at a lot if you are a woman running in the area. A lot of people are going to compliment you And, you know, depends on how you feel about that. And I can say like that hasn't stopped. It's very flattering. A little upsetting that I'm 41 and, you know, still getting honked at if I go for a walk from Springfield down to my parents' house or something. But, you know, I never feel unsafe. I feel a little objectified, but not unsafe. And I think I still live in the area, obviously, and it's been amazing to me to realize as I've grown up how much there is around Springfield. I really wasn't aware of all these cute little towns and all of the opportunities for different types of activities. And now that I'm a grown up, I'm finding them. So if you're interested in finding them, you can. And if you have a car, of course, you have a lot more things available to you. And I think I went to a college like Springfield College in my undergrad, and the first couple of years I didn't have a car and I was happy in the little bubble. And then, you know, as I had a car my last 2 years, it was fun to start exploring. And I imagine that's same for a lot of students at Springfield College. I don't know, but as you get the car, your domain increases and you can start seeing what else is further afield. Any other questions from those of you who are here before I go back to our scripted questions? Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, the academic support services, tutoring, etc.
So, I'm actually a tutor. And so just so you guys know, when you get on campus, you'll see it, but there is the, you have the union and then you have the Learning Commons. It's a huge building. The Academic Success Center. So they have a bunch of services. One in which is tutoring. And it's on the 3rd floor, you know, but it's easy to find everything like that when you get on campus. But 3rd floor, there's, again, a whole bunch of different services. There's, you know, for tutoring, there's content tutors, there's math tutors, there's biology tutors, you know, science tutors, every tutor. And usually there's a student, a couple of students for each like subject or each content area. So for example, I tutor human disease and chronic illness, so that's considered a content area. And again, usually the students, you know, who want to get tutored or need help, usually reach out to the ASC, which is the Academic Success Center. And you can just it's an appointment. Usually normally it would be in person, but now with COVID and everything like that, it's on Zoom. But it's super easy to make an appointment. You know, you make an appointment, you get set up with a tutor, and you guys kind of devise a plan to meet. And so and I enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy being able to interact with the students and help out in any way. And that's all the tutors. All the tutors are really happy to help out in any way, you know, possible. But you know, obviously it's the students, you know, job to see when and you know, when and if they need help and, you know, and how they're going to get it. But the tutoring service at Academic Success Center is awesome. And they offer more than tutoring. I'm not, you know, too sure, you know, 100% on what else they offer, but tutoring is a good aspect of it.
I recommend, like, if you're having trouble with classes, just go see a tutor, because like they're students like us and they've taken the class and they have like tricks on how they pass class, because everyone that's a tutor has had to have an A, right, in the class, or you had to do
you have to have been successful. It varies how people will define that. Usually, like, you know, if a student wants a tutor for one of the classes I'm teaching, the Academic Success Center will ask me for recommendations, and I can send them the names of people I think would be a good tutor.
Yeah, so I had a tutor for bio and chemistry, and after tutoring, my grade went up like tremendously. So I recommend it. It's just like, even if you like have a tutoring session, like I started doing weekly, and some weeks I feel like I didn't need to go, but then I just forced myself to go and we would just talk over it. So like when I like realized when I could explain it to what I was doing with my tutor, I knew the material.
Yes, you are very wise. That is exactly the thing. I always try to explain that to people. Like, it's one thing to be able to follow the pattern in the exercises. It's another thing entirely to be able to explain it to someone. If you can teach it, you know it.
Yeah, so I recommend you using it. And I think don't quote me on this, but I remember one time I had like a C- in the class. It was just, I had struggling. And then they like emailed me asking me if I wanted a tutor. So I don't know if they do that for everybody, but they really care about us here. Like, we're just not a number. We have, like, they know our names, so just use it.
Yep. Yeah, we have midterm grades. And if your midterm grade comes in, I think a C- or lower, they'll send you a email reaching out, explaining what services are available, encouraging you to seek out help if you need it.
And again, if you guys, aren't doing well in the class, or, as well as you want to, don't hesitate to get the help. Don't wait too long before, it's too late to get that grade back up. Please reach out, get the help that you need, and have some fun doing it, get advice, tips, and everything like that. And like Destiny said, you get to talk over the material with the tutor. And it's just a fun process to help and learn. So
Yeah, just an update. I did pass the class with an A-, so I went from C- to an A-. So tutoring works.
And something I like about the tutoring also, I had one last year, I believe, is that they are students, so they're easier to relate to, and they've taken the class, so they kind of know, like, if you had the same professor, like, they know their format and they can give you tips on that, which was very helpful. And just like being able to relate to them about like the class and college and stuff just really helps. And then some other services that the Academic Success Center provides is, I know they do a lot of accommodations for people who have either learning disabilities or troubles with tests. They also have like a writing hub. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but you can send in an essay and they'll read it for you and revise it or give you like advice on writing. So that, I haven't used it, but I'm sure that's very helpful.
Okay, another question. What is the campus environment or student life like during the week and weekends?
During the week, I would say you're always going to see people like in passing. Like if you have a lot of, right now with a lot of Zoom classes, it really depends on if you're going outside of your room. But like if I were to go outside and go to the library or go to class, like I'll probably pass by some of my friends, and like that's like some of the best parts of my day, honestly, is just saying hi to people I don't normally see. So that's something that I really like about this school, is that it's so small and you're most likely going to walk by someone that you know. Um, a lot of people are very involved with the college in as far as clubs, work, and sports. So a lot of people are athletes here, or there's club and intramural sports as well. So yeah, like during the week, it's pretty busy. Like people are doing things, and there's a lot of on-campus activities as well through our student activities. For example, they have like food trucks on the weekends sometimes, which has been very good. They had, I forget what they had last time, but I've been trying to go to all of them because they're very good. But yeah, there's just a lot to do on campus. So if you're worried about like not having a car freshman year, like I didn't have a car my first 2 years and I was totally fine. Like I always found stuff to do.
All right, what about extracurricular activities? What extracurricular activities are you guys all participating in, if any?
Well, like Marissa said, there's like a lot to do and there's a lot to get involved with. So like I know I was a part of the partners program. So we go in, well, before COVID, there's like from one of the elementary schools, you come in, they come to the college and then you mentor them kind of, you help them with homework, you do fun activities, and then you have dinner with them and then they go home. It was kind of great because like I have a big family and I was like missing like my little cousins and stuff. So like it was nice to have that. And then I did the blast program also. And that's where we go to a school in Springfield, elementary school. It's called Brookings. And BLAST is like an acronym for the program. And we would go there from like 3 to 5:30, and then you just help them do homework. And then it's kind of a mentor thing too, but it's not like one-on-one, it's more like a group. And those things like really, I still like remember most of the kids till this day. So it's great.
Are any of you guys, the new students, are you guys part of any sports teams or anything like that? Or coming in or recruited or anything like that?
I would be only interested in like intramural sports.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So so like you just said, that's always an option too. I don't know 100% or a lot about it, but if you're not about the same competitiveness as the actual college sport, intramurals is a great way to have fun still and compete, but just it's emphasized more on having fun. So I think I think there's I think there's softball, intramural, baseball, or a whole bunch of stuff. But then there's also there's a bunch of jobs on campus that you can participate in. So for example, the tutoring, if you want to tutor or if you get recommended to be a tutor, that's a paid position. So if you're interested, you can always do tutoring. There's a whole bunch of student jobs that you could do on campus for extracurricular stuff.
Any other questions from those of you who are here? Okay, that's the end of our written questions. I have a few other things to mention. First of all, the college is not going to raise tuition, room or board or fees next year because understanding a lot of people have financial challenges due to the pandemic. And then also just related to the pandemic, there is a lot that the college has done this year to make sure that we can be on campus safely. And as a public health professor with background in epidemiology, I've been part of a lot of those conversations. I'm a member of the President's Leadership Team Plus, which is a group that's responding to the pandemic and planning the different things that the college is doing to be ready and to keep people safe. And I can say that Springfield College really is doing a lot more than many other colleges are, just providing testing for all of the students and faculty and staff, and making sure that we are very strictly adhering to social distancing guidelines in the classroom and in different buildings on campus. And of course, as you guys mentioned, doing things to keep the campus life feeling as normal as possible with activities and food trucks, and just trying to make sure that people aren't sitting sadly in their dorm rooms when they're not attending Zoom class. It's supposed to be more than that if you're actually on campus. Can any of you guys talk about what that's been like? The idea, of course, is that we're nearing the end. We're hopefully not going to be living this way much longer. And by the time new students come in the fall, we'll hopefully have one foot solidly back in normal. But it may well be that we have another semester, at least, that's somewhat affected by all of the stuff that's going on. So how has it been for you guys this year? Just sharing any perspective that you can give about the safety and how you feel being on campus.
Well, I personally feel safe here on campus. We get tested every week. I know like a lot of people don't have, especially in the beginning of COVID, didn't have that opportunity. People were waiting in lines and lines for testing. So here that's not an issue. Cleaning is really good. I live in the suite, so like they don't come in and clean because we're responsible for that. But every day, like they're wiping down railings in the stairwell and cleaning the railings in the elevator and mopping and vacuuming the floor. So I think it's really safe, and they have really good procedures. Like if the cases do go up, then we revert back to all remote. Sometime like last semester, we did go home a little early, but we had the option to go home or stay. So like they're like thoughtful about what's going on and how hard this may be on us too. But I feel safe.
Yeah, I must say, and the whole entire college, especially like like the COVID-19 like task force, they've organized a really good plan in terms of like testing and everything. I mean, there's nitty gritty stuff like all the way from specific days. So they've managed to organize really well what students or when and what students get tested, when and stuff like that. And like Destiny said, it's every week now. Last time I think it was like every 2 weeks or something like that, or there's different rotations. But yeah, so and even if you're on or off campus, so for example, me, I have to go get tested every week. Because eventually I am going to be on campus. So if you are off campus and COVID's still going on, like this, and they're still requiring the testing, then be prepared. If you're going to be on campus to get tested every week and everything like that. So.
As far as like socially, I know that that's been something that's difficult during this pandemic because you can't really hang out in big groups, like see a lot of different people. I think honestly, when I came back to campus last semester after being home for so long, I was just so happy to see like my best friends and come back and like live with my roommates. I mean, it's definitely like an adjustment, but you still have like your small group, like your roommate, and I personally think it's better than living at home with my parents. Also, in terms of like testing and stuff, we also have a contact tracing team. So I'm actually a part of that, and we will, once they identify the positive cases, we will call them and figure out who they've been in contact with, and all their contacts will go into quarantine. So I think we've been doing a very good job in controlling the spread throughout the past 2 semesters. So I think that's really helped. And our numbers are very low right now for quarantining and positive cases. So I think our campus is definitely very safe and smart about it.
I agree. I feel very safe the days when I'm teaching in person. It's a really, it's a good feeling not to have to stress out too much about the people that I'm interacting with when I'm on campus. I do feel the campus is doing what it needs to do to keep us all as safe as possible, recognizing there's no 100%, but it doesn't seem like undue risk. So one thing I thought I would do, does anyone have questions? I'll check in with you guys again. Okay, so one thing, we have another 10 or so minutes. I'm just going to do a brief tour of our online learning platform. So this is, I might lose it, hang on, I'll reshare. There. Can you guys see that now? So this is our online learning platform, which we use no matter what's going on with COVID. But this was always in place before COVID happened. But now that we're having some class sessions remote and some class sessions in person, this has become even more valuable. And I expect one of the things that will be a long-term outcome of this pandemic is that people will have kind of had some serious immersion in these systems and will keep using them a little bit more than they used to in the past. So it's basically, the course website, and there's a place on the homepage for announcements that are just, general information for the class. There's a list along the side of your upcoming topics to review. Any assignments that are due will be listed there. And then there is a content page, which includes the topics for that class. So this is my epidemiology class page. We're currently in module 3 of the class. For each module, I put in a checklist, and you can take a look at that, see what you have that you need to do and when you need to do it by. And this semester, there are lecture recordings there. So the way I'm doing my classes this semester is students watch a lecture recording before class, and then we have a split class session where you attend on Zoom for 35 minutes, or you attend the second half of class in person for 35 minutes, and you pick one or the other. And because the lectures are online, in class, we just do a discussion of any questions, and then we review an in-class exercise or activity. And at least on my end, that's been working out pretty well. And I feel like I'm very comfortable with that idea that you can post lectures ahead of time and then have a little more flexibility with what you do in class. I'm really enjoying that idea. And so it's something I'm trying to think about how I could retain to some degree, even after we move back into our post-pandemic times. Maybe not all lecture recordings online, but maybe doing that at least sometimes so that it frees up a little bit more in-class time for talking and discussing and reviewing and all of that. It's kind of that flipped classroom model. And then other than that, you've got a tab where you can review grades in the class, which will show you how things are progressing as you move through the semester. You've got your tabs for quizzes and assignments. And overall, I've been really appreciating that we've always had these course web pages, and that has made the transition into either fully remote teaching or hybrid teaching a lot easier, because students are already familiar with this and it has all the tools that you need to administer a class in different formats. Do you guys have any thoughts about what it's been like on the academic end, how your classes have been doing things? Like, I'm doing it my way. A lot of faculty are doing a lot of different things to make sure that they can administer their courses to students with different levels of on-campusness. We have classes where some students are in person, some students are remote, and it changes. If students go into quarantine, they have to be in that class remote for a while. And so all classes need to have this built-in flexibility. And how has that been going for you guys? How's the academic experience in general, both in the before times and in the pandemic times? Any thoughts about what it's like on the academic end?
Well, obviously before COVID, everything was in person. So you would go to your normal class time and everything like that. So that was pretty straightforward. But it is a little confusing now in terms of like picking apart like which classes is online, which one's in person. But again, the professors are usually really good about communicating with the students. So as of right now, I think our two forms are either asynchronous or synchronous. So there's a whole bunch of different options, but some classes, I think last semester I had one class that was asynchronous, meaning that you don't meet on a regular basis. And usually you just, the professor posts material, and usually it's the student's job to, by the end of the week, to get through the material. But I have to say that most of my classes are synchronous, meaning that they meet on like a regular scheduled class time via Zoom. And again, some do in person as well. Most of my classes are on Zoom. So it's especially now, it's definitely important for you guys to check Brightspace, because there's a whole bunch of details and assignments that the professors post, and just keeping up with the information. Everything's really important, and communication's key. So if you're confused about the schedule or something like that, or not sure if you're meeting in person or if you're meeting on Zoom, just ask the professor, and they should tell you. So
I would have to agree with Travis. It's like it was an adjustment because we went from being in person, but the teachers here, especially our health science teachers, they did the best that they could in the beginning in March, they had like 2 weeks to switch their whole curriculum. So they did very well. It's like nice to have some classes that like the flip classroom. So like Professor Zagrin's, I'm in her evidence-based healthcare, and I like that we watch the videos before we go to class. So like it makes me like be prepared for the discussion. It makes the class a little shorter for me. Like sometimes my attention span isn't that long, so I like the shorter class. I still feel like I am getting quality education. I feel like I'm still learning. So it's different, but it's okay. And I don't know if you were showing like your page, because we couldn't see it. That's why I said, excuse me, Professor, I don't know if you heard me.
Oh, no, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no,
I'll try
okay.
again. I've got two monitors, and sometimes when I share, this doesn't work as well as there. So that's the page. So now you guys are in front of it. I'll move you guys over here. And this is the home page. So what I was trying to explain is you've got the home page where in theory you'll have announcements about any things you need to be aware of, assignments that are due, how you're meeting in class that day. You'll have a list down the side of the upcoming events in the class. You'll have a content page, which will describe what content is being delivered that day or that week, or however the faculty member has organized it. And so I was saying, for my class now, I've got lecture recordings that are posted here. In the past, I would just post the lecture notes, and then we would do the lecture in class. And I'm learning that that doesn't necessarily have to be done that way. You can, it's usually about a half an hour lecture. You can record it ahead of time, and that as Destiny says, frees you up to spend your class time doing other things and also to shorten class a bit. And so now, since I'm trying to split class sessions in half so students can attend in person if they want to, but you don't require it, it means that we have still covered the full 75-minute class session between the part you do ahead of time and the part you do on Zoom or in person. So that has been good. And I think just talking to other faculty members here, it's basically been a crash course in how to teach in a lot of different ways. And I think for a lot of people, it kind of pushed them out of their comfort zone, but in a way that made some opportunities arise, where you're learning new ways to deliver material and recognizing that the standard format that you thought was the only way, in fact, isn't. And I think a lot of people are going to continue to use some of the tools that they've gotten familiar with this year, which I think will be a pandemic silver lining, I hope. At least for me, I feel like I've learned a few new tricks and I'm excited about them. And I'm excited just to kind of have some more variety to the types of class sessions that I can do. It doesn't have to be 75 minutes sitting in a chair. We can have these different formats that we mix and match so that it keeps things interesting and you don't feel like you're bogged down in too much of the same old, same old.
I'll just quickly add to it. I know to you guys it might seem, a lot of navigating, but it's really user friendly. It's so easy to get around and everything like that, and you guys will get used to it in no time. And same thing with the PrideNet too. It might seem like there's a lot, but again, you'll get used to it so easily. So don't worry about that. It's really easy to navigate and stuff. So.
Yeah, one nice thing is the whole college is all in the same system. So all faculty members are using Brightspace, or at least they're supposed to be using Brightspace. That's the rules. Some people might be using a few other things in addition. But I do notice it's, I think, better than what my kids are dealing with. I have kids in elementary school, and they have things going on in different formats, which is confusing. It's getting better and better. The early days of the pandemic were really rough for keeping up with their school. So I'm hoping that at least in Springfield College, people haven't had quite that level of figuring things out on multiple platforms. It should all be Brightspace, maybe occasionally something through Google Meets or whatever. But for the most part, once you learn it, it should be something that you get to apply across the board. In theory. I'm not a student, so I'm not sure. I only see my own tiny little tunnel vision of, I do it that way. Any last questions from you all? Any last thoughts from our current students, things that you haven't had a chance to share yet that you were thinking you wanted to?
I'll post my email in the chat, but just feel free to reach out to me, you guys, if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to help out any way I can. I know it's nervous, going into college and everything like that, and picking majors. But just know, you'll get used to it. The more you come on campus and get to interact with the staff and the students and everything, it'll be really fun. And again, the learning process is awesome here as well. But yeah, it's easier said, don't be nervous and everything like that. But you guys will have a good time. And in terms of, major wise, if you're not sure right now, or if you're, set on the health science, major and whatnot, you can always change. There's nothing, set in stone. You can always change. And that's also what's really good about this Springfield College and all the majors and everything like that, is that, you can change whenever you want. And they're really good about it. So.
And I'll make sure you guys have my contact information as well. If you go to springfield.edu and you click on academics here, you'll see health professions as an option. And we are either health science or public health. You can find us through either of those. If you click if you click health science under faculty and staff, these are all of us in the department. I'm at the end because I'm the Z, and you can get in touch with me. This is my office number. I'm rarely in my office. I'm either on campus teaching or at home doing my other stuff. So this semester, certainly my email works best. And you can get in touch with other people in our department this way as well. All right, well, thank you all very much for attending, both our current students and our admitted students. I hope to hear from you if you do have additional questions or things that you wanted to talk about that slipped your mind today. And I will send this recording to our admissions office so that if there's something you want to look back on, you'll be able to access it through the Visiting Students Accepted Student Open House Day page. All right, thank you all very much for your time.
It was very
Thank
nice
you.
meeting you guys. Good luck. If hopefully I see you guys on campus. Hopefully we see each other on campus.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Take care.
Sophia, thank you so much.